Chapter 86. Energy vibrations pass information through consciousness and subconsciousness. When you are searching for answers within your own selves, do not think that you get them by merely inventing them. What you have taken in from the books that have been read earlier, from the narratives that you have heard earlier, or from any sources of information you have already been forgotten by your very long past since you heard them or read them, while that very information has also sunk deeply down into your subconsciousness, and so deeply that you do not remember anymore that you have possessed that information. And all this even provides you the so-called phenomenon of déjà vu, as if you had already been in that place, as if it had already happened to you. And many of you attempt to present it as evidence of the existence of one's other and former lives, what you call reincarnation. This is but a ploy of your subconsciousness, and sometimes this is felt by your brain center, as the emitted subconscious signals are felt as information vibrations on the level of your consciousness. You already know that vibrations have their own corresponding energy information. It is only due to energy vibrations that you are able to perceive, think, and communicate among yourselves. You only erroneously believe that you communicate in words or other symbols that are seen or heard. You know perfectly well that dolphins do not have their own language that might be expressed in words, but you rightly take them for intelligent mammals, for they manage to communicate among themselves by means of vibrations. They can communicate even with man. Therefore, all the vibrations that are emitted from your subconsciousness and reach your consciousness are also supplying you with the information that you, without knowing its origin, begin to attribute to some memories from your past lives or to the places you have not seen before. And yet at that time, they seem to you as if they were familiar to you. It is namely at this time that from your subconsciousness you are receiving a great multitude of subconscious vibrations, the origin of which is not known to and perceived by you at all. You are focusing all your attention in your consciousness to the present moment, tinged with an idea that this moment has already been experienced some time before. One aspect of this subconscious information has been recorded as a word spoken out by somebody, even in your childhood. Another aspect has been recorded by means of a thought while reading some book. Still another aspect has been recorded while listening to the news on the radio or television. One more aspect has been recorded while talking to your child. And one more aspect has set in without even being conceived by you, that you have passed through a very similar place, without even knowing that you have passed, though that very similar locality, many years prior to this moment, and absolutely in a different place, maybe even in a different country. Another aspect, unrecorded by your consciousness, has been provoked in a dream, and these aspects, many a thousand of them, scores of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them, have settled down in your subconsciousness, which, if taken separately one by one, would tell you nothing. Neither would they supply any information to your consciousness, since they have not been recorded on a conscious level. They have not been comprehended. They have not been real yet. They have been as subconscious vibrations that have emerged as a separate image, but perceived on your conscious level merely as if it has been in your personal experience. It only shows that your subconsciousness is an enormous repository of energy information vibrations that have not been recorded on the level of your consciousness, and which you may turn from disorderly and chaotic into a very useful source of information to your own consciousness, provided that you would learn to adequately raise these subconscious energy information vibrations to the level of the information vibrations of your consciousness that your conscious mind is operating on. At the present time, your mind is idling. Therefore, you are taking out of your subconsciousness absolutely nothing unless, under certain circumstances, it is throwing out these very energy vibrations to your consciousness. However, even in this case, they remain to you as puzzling and inexplicable. It is related to such phenomena as spiritism, sorcery, astrological telling fortunes, when the subconscious information vibrations by some people are turned into such vibrations that are conceived by their consciousness, but which have nothing in common with the true reality. This is man's subconscious vibrations being presented as his desires that sometimes might, by chance, coincide with the real developments. However, it is by no means the information that might be arranged the way it can be arranged by the vibrations of the consciousness of a son or daughter of God, who has faith in God and knows creation. Therefore, you must strictly dissociate yourselves from such self-deceiving phenomena as astrology, sorcery, and spiritism. They are no different from drug addiction. One man's brain is in need of such energy information vibrations that are caused by the drug energy information vibrations on a subconscious level. That is why man sees hallucinations, feels elevation, and desires this relaxation ever again. However, addiction to these energy vibrations, which are of the lowest level, so that even the lowest vibrations of the conscious level produce to this mortal mind a sensation of fear, a physical pain. If the mortal remains for some time on this conscious level without getting back to the level of the low narcotized subconscious vibrations, therefore, a drug addict requires artificial means to be able again to submerge down to a subconscious and completely unreal level on which he feels an impact of the low energy information vibrations on his brain center. That is why one is trying at any cost to experience again those vibrations that would match the subconscious vibrations of that person's brain center that are provoked by the low energy information vibrations present in the narcotic substances. The only way out of this disastrous, will-paralyzing addiction is not the different psychological and medical treatment methods proposed by you, but rather sincere substitution of the low vibrations of such a person who is controlled by the subconscious low vibrations, by higher and brighter vibrations through setting up a live relationship with the Father. And then such a person who has found himself in the slavery of the narcotizing substances, irrespective of the fact whether he is big or little, young or old, is always liberated. The Father has not created this world and man to be tormented in the course of his experiences of his many lives or through his experience of the only material life. And if, due to his ignorance or due to some other circumstances beyond man's control, he has found himself in the captivity of the low energy information vibrations of the narcotic substances, his liberation lies only in his faith in the Father and in the experience of the highest, purest, and strongest energy information vibrations of his love within.